Hey young friends, Dr. Bill here. As always, I am very grateful that you've chosen to spend a few moments with me. We're continuing to talk about the things that Jesus said and did, and in particular, we have been looking at some of the parables that Jesus told. Today, we're going to focus on another parable from Luke 18, and this one has to do with prayer. It's sort of a tandem piece to the parable we looked at last week, the parable of the widow and the unjust judge. And if you remember, the point of that parable was that when it comes to prayer, we need to be persistent. The things that matter the most to us, well, we'll pray long and hard about them. But today's parable is a little different, and it's called the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. Here's how it goes. Jesus said that one day 2 men went up to the temple to pray. The first was a Pharisee, and when he went into the temple and began to pray, he just looked right up to heaven and said, "Lord, I thank you." And then he said, "I thank you that I am not like other people." And he listed all kinds of folks who were not well thought of in his day and time. And then he concluded by saying, "I thank you that I am not like a tax collector." From there, he went on and recited all the things that he did that were good. He fasted twice a week. He tithed his income. And that was the essence of his prayer. But Jesus said the second person who came to pray was a tax collector. Now, in that day and time, tax collectors were despised. They were viewed as the lowest of the low. But this tax collector came, and he would not even lift his head toward heaven. And his prayer was very short and sweet. He said, "Lord, forgive me, because I am a sinner." Then Jesus said, "Which of these two went away from the temple in a right relationship with God?" And the answer is the tax collector. Of all the people that we would think would not be in a right relationship with God, it was the tax collector. Now, from this parable, there are a few very important lessons that we can draw in terms of the practice of prayer. First, praying is not about trying to make God like us or trying to tell God how wonderful we are. That was what the Pharisee did. He listed all of his virtues and he gave thanks for what he was not. But in all of that, he was simply putting himself forward. His prayer was really not about God, but it was about himself. And so he was trying to use prayer as a way to get God's attention, to say, "Hey, look, see how wonderful I am." And Jesus said this kind of prayer, well, it just doesn't work. The tax collector, however, offered up a very short but very genuine prayer. "Have mercy on me, because I am a sinner." Now, what the tax collector was willing to do was to say who he was, not who he was not, like the Pharisee did. And in terms of his prayer, it was genuine and heartfelt. And as a result, Jesus said this man left the temple in a right relationship with God. When we use our prayers to be honest, to be open, to not try to cover up what we are or what we've done, well, that's the kind of prayer that puts us in touch with God. That's the kind of prayer that makes a difference. Jesus concluded the parable by saying, "Which of these left the temple and was justified or was in a right relationship with God?" And the surprising answer, it's the tax collector. Being in a right relationship with God means that we simply are honest about who we are. we recognize that we're accountable only for our lives, not someone else. And the purpose of prayer is not to build ourselves up and to think that we can do stuff to make God like us or love us more. No, the purpose of prayer is simply opening up a channel so that we can have a right relationship with God. Sometimes that channel is opened just simply by us saying, here is who I am and here is what I have done. Well, that'll do it for this week's lesson. As always, if you have any questions or you'd like to talk about this, you know how to get in touch with me. Most of you have been in school for several weeks now, and I certainly hope that it's going well. I wish you all the very best, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.